Hi, I'm Adam Steele. In the last video, we looked at the 2 notes Preamp pedals and how all of them have a clean channel, even though they're all different from each other. This time, we're checking out all the heavier, more distorted sounds. Welcome to Channel B. Now when we say distorted, we don't necessarily mean full-on buzzing bees and fizzy fuzz, although we can get there if we really want. However, the clean pedal is a good example of getting distorted tones with more of a traditional feel. The B channel on the clean reminds me of classic American amps when they're pushed really hard. With all the controls around 12 o'clock, on a single coil pickup, it sounds like this with some gain applied. Now, when we covered the A channels for the pedals, we saw gain, volume, bass, and treble. But here on channel B, there are 2 more controls which make this a much more potent channel with a lot more control. These are mid and sweep. Now, guitar players know what a mid control does. It adjusts how much of the mid-range of the signal is either pushed forward or scooped out. But what about the sweep control? The 2 controls work together. The best way to explain this is the mid knob controls how much of the mid we want, and the sweep knob controls where those mids are. Put simply, you can change from adding or taking low mids to high mids and anywhere in between. I'm being really quite extreme with the controls here, but especially with a more distorted tone, the mids are arguably the most important part of the sound. So looking for that subtle change you can get with the sweep, you want to be able to do that with as few knobs as possible. So with the clean, we saw some real vintage American grit, but now we move firmly back into British territory. This B channel reminds me of 80s hard rock, which can be pushed far into early metal sounds as well. Here's how it sounds with a single coil. And here's what happens when we go to full-on humbucker with some extra gain in there. Note that I can sweep the mids on this B channel to get either a mid-rich, more vintage rock tone, or I can find a spot in the mids to scoop out and end up with a more modern metal tone, which still has some organic qualities, unlike a lot of those pedal form factor units which can sound a bit like a buzzsaw. Now here's a pedal that's just screaming out for you to use its B channel. The lead is named for its thick, searing lead tones, but don't let the name fool you. This preamp can do great modern rhythm tones as well if that cascaded gain sound is the one for you. This one can also go from scooped tight metal to more mid-pushed singing tone depending on your preferences. You don't need to have the gain knob maxed out either because there's plenty on tap. Now, let's compare the 3 sounds. We'll be using the same speaker setup each time and have a medium-high gain sound on the bridge pickup of this Les Paul to give you an idea of what these pedals can do back to back. Let's not forget the low end brethren. When the A channel for the bass was super clean, with a little tube grip when we hit it hard, this one's a real Jekyll and Hyde. Channel B is a fire-breathing monster with mids for days. Don't be afraid, you can back that gain off, or you can use a combo of the mid sweep and a little bit of extra gain to really poke out of a band mix. When heavy guitars are raging, it takes more than you think to stand out and be heard. Check this out. So that's the B channels on these monsters. You can do even more with these pedals in what's called fusion mode, but we'll leave that for another video because it's a pretty cool way of thinking, but it takes a minute to get your head around. In the next video, we're going to look at a cool thing you can do if you want to use more than one of these pedals in your rig, but you don't want to have to tap dance to get that ultimate tone.